Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. This is the place to be for tips, tools, and strategies to help you build a profitable business that's fun to run. And today is Thursday, and we always talk health and wellness on Thursday because without your health, you won't be able to enjoy your wealth. And so Robin Shimizu is our host on Thursday, and she always brings us some really good information and different guests that are going to help us to keep our health in check. So it's fall. We've got a new season. Today we're going to be talking all about salt and health tips and nutrition that is all evidence-based. Evidence-based. Yes. So it's all been checked out. These are not fairy tales and things, but there is something to substantiate them. So without further ado, I give you Robin Shimizu. Welcome, Robin.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I thought that going into the holidays, it would be good to review our nutritional and just have make it more top of mind in terms of being healthy during the holidays, especially after Halloween and all the candy and all the stuff that we have in the house because of Halloween. But one of the things I was always curious about, and I haven't ever done this, is looking at the differences between salt. And I was surprised to learn about some salt stuff. So I thought I would share that with you guys today. Just little tips on what's the difference between Himalayan and kosher and regular and sea salts.
Cool.
And do we care? It was really fun because I realized that after reading this article, by the way, is written by this guy, Chris Gunners, and he has a newsletter and he's got a health blog, Healthline, and he has a bunch of really great information. So I will go over the different kinds of salts.
Okay. So sea salt. Everybody knows what sea salt is. It's salt that comes from we get it by evaporating it out of seawater. However, what I found interesting. Good morning. Good morning. What I found interesting about sea salt is that because there's so much pollution in the ocean now, that there's actually could be little plastic and other things in our sea salt. And I thought, oh my goodness, because I actually cook with sea salt. So I decided after reading this article, because it does sometimes contain small traces of minerals, which is not bad, but also heavy metals and microplastics. So I've decided I'm going to throw out the sea salt and not have sea salt in my house anymore because I don't want those plastics going into my... And I actually bake and cook with sea salt. I use kosher salt too, but I'm going to throw the sea salt out. I mean, did you guys know that? No, but it does stand to reason if the ocean is polluted, then your salt probably is too. Perhaps it could be, it depends on which sea that they're getting the salt from too.
Right.
Okay.
It's just something to keep in mind, right?
Right.
It really is. Okay, Himalayan pink salt. So the Himalayan pink salt comes from a mine called Kira Salt Mine from Pakistan. Apparently, that's where most of it comes from, is in this one area in Pakistan. It's the biggest or largest salt mine in the world. The reason why Himalayan salt is pink is because it has iron oxide, which is kind of a rust, and it gives it the pink color. So it has small amounts of calcium, iron, potassium, and magnesium in the salt, along with, the sodium. So I found it interesting, though, because there are some people that have to have restrictions on potassium because they have their bodies producing too much potassium or not enough. Like my father, we used to have to keep his potassium in check. So I would choose not to use a Himalayan sea salt for him because we're trying in all different sources to keep his potassium lower. So it's just good to know that there's potassium, magnesium, calcium, and iron in Himalayan salt. So if you don't have any health issues around those minerals, I think it's a good salt to have. Let's see. The next one is kosher salt. So do you guys want to try to guess what is kosher salt? Or you guys already know?
I haven't a clue on what kosher salt is, so please enlighten us.
Okay. Traditional Jewish law requires blood to be extracted from meat before it's eaten. Because kosher salt has a flaky, coarse structure, it's particularly efficient at extracting blood. So that's how come it's called kosher salt. Have you guys ever seen it? It's flat and it's coarse. And I also use it in my cooking. So it's easier. People use it. Chefs use it a lot because you can pick it up with your fingers and sprinkle it on your food rather than eating it. So it's one of those that you'll find in the little salt pots a lot of times on people's stoves and stuff. So it's the flakiness that makes it easier to season your food.
Okay, and so Natalie in the chat has a question. She's asking, what about the Dead Sea salt? And we may have to, get back to her on that, but the Dead Sea is like Salt Lake City. There is the salt, there's no inlet or no outlet. The water goes in and it stays right in there. So did it say anything in your research about?
It didn't, but is that Natalie that's asking that question?
Yes.
We'll try to answer your question in the comments. I'll look it up and put it in the comments because I think that's a really great question.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, in summary about the kosher salt, it just says that it's really easy to use on top of your food because it's flaky and it actually has less sodium in it because it is a larger flake and it's less dense. So it's a good salt in that way, and it also doesn't have the anti-caking agents, which is in regular table salt. So table salt, regular table salt, which we all know, Morton's or whatever.
Yes.
They add stuff. I don't know what the stuff is exactly, but it's called anti-caking ingredients to table salt. And that's what makes it pour out, and it doesn't get, I guess, stays real.
It flows.
Yeah, so it comes out of the container and stuff.
Yes,
so
and they also add iodine, right?
Yes, actually, that's perfect. Because table salt has a lot of times, it has a lot of times iodine added to it.
Dinging and dinging. Sorry.
So people that have to, keep their iodine under control should be. I'm just thinking should stay away from table salt in general. Because I don't want that anti-caking stuff in my salt.
Yeah.
However, I do use table salt when I'm rinsing my mouth or, any of those, when you put salt in warm water and you rinse your mouth and things like that. I do use regular table salt for that, but I may not now. There's a salt called Celtic salt. Have you guys ever heard of that?
I've never heard of Celtic salt.
Yeah, me either. It's called Celtic salt, and it's a type of salt that was originally popular in France, and the color of it is gray because it's a moist salt. It contains some water, and it also has traces of minerals, and it's lower in sodium than any of the other salts. So it's actually lower in sodium, and it's the highest in calcium and magnesium. So I think that's a good salt to consider when you're the next time you're buying salt. I don't know where you find it. I don't. It might be at the grocery stores and we just don't know it. But it's Celtic salt. So the bottom line is, for me, what I took away from the article is that there are differences in the salt. There are minerals. There are also potentially some contaminants in salt. So we just have to be mindful of what our body needs, and the other thing that was absolutely crazy is that this guy says, and I don't think it's, I kind of have an issue with it. He said that there isn't a study that has compared the health effects of different types of salts.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually saying that salt isn't all that bad for your heart. And I'm like, I don't think so. So I didn't, there were a few things in this article that I thought were kind of like, well, that's the last, I've never heard that. I've always heard that you keep salt under control for your blood pressure.
Yes.
And for your healthy heart. So I don't know. He says salt, basically though, salt is salt, and it all is personal preference based on whether or not you want those minerals in your salt, but the taste and the function of the salts across the board, there's no difference.
Mm. You know, I have taken to using Himalayan pink salt a lot. But I wasn't aware of these facts that you were talking about it having. Could you repeat that about the Himalayan? Because I'm paying attention about potassium.
Sure.
And
yeah, the Himalayan salt has little traces of rust in it, and that's what gives it its pink flavor. I mean, pink color. Yes. But he didn't say that it's just natural in this mine in Pakistan. This huge, second largest salt mine in the world is where they get the Himalayan salt. And he says it has small traces of calcium, iron, potassium, and magnesium. Mm-hmm. So it has more minerals in it than any other salt, even the Celtic salt.
So I have an article here from Dr. Don Colbert on the shocking truth about Himalayan pink salt versus sea salt. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Salt is a necessary food your body needs to function properly. However, the type of salt you use matters, and there's often a lot of confusion when it comes to the healthiest sea salt, especially in regards to Himalayan pink salt versus sea salt. If you've been using Himalayan pink salt regularly or thinking that all sea salts are created equal, the facts below will probably surprise you. Sea salt, good source of electrolytes and trace minerals. And then it says, first, what is sea salt exactly? Sea salt is made from evaporated water, just like Robin just shared, taken from oceans and saltwater lakes versus table salt, which is mined from salt deposits underground. Sea salt production dates back to prehistoric times, and humans have used it in many ways over the years for cooking, seasoning, and even non-food products like cosmetics. Okay. Then they have a what is it called? Infographic where you get to see pictures. Let me see if I can show that to you. And without a glare.
We got a glare. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because if you talk, it won't pick up. So anyway, there's a glare, and I'm trying to see. Anyway, it says, I can see it, but anyway, okay. Let me just see if I can read it. Some of the top sea salt benefits include rich in minerals compared with normal salt. Sea salt has bigger crystals in it, and if it's a high quality sea salt, can contain as much as 60 trace minerals or more. In our overly processed world today, it's harder to get these essential minerals from our soil and foods, so a good sea salt can provide your body with more. A great source of electrolytes, since sea salt is minimally processed, it's not only a good source of the electrolyte sodium, but also contain potassium, magnesium, and calcium. Supports crucial body functions, fights keto flu. Celtic and Real Brand sea salts are some of the best sea salt brand choices. So you just mentioned about Celtic salt. Now let's address the Himalayan pink salt versus sea salt. Himalayan pink salt is actually a type of sea salt, but there are reasons it should give you pause. Here's why. Himalayan pink salt is a pretty color, risky ingredients. Himalayan pink salts have a gorgeous pink color that many love. Unfortunately, many Himalayan salt products are contaminated with heavy metals, especially lead. A chemical analysis done by SPX Certaprep in 2012 that looked at 12 different sea salts found this. The darker or more colorful salts like Himalayan pink salt had the highest amount of essential minerals, but also the highest amounts of heavy metals. Of course, if you only consume a tiny amount of Himalayan pink salt, your exposure will be low. But since there are other salt alternatives, why not stick with those and avoid the risk altogether? Ultimately, it's probably, this is his opinion, it's probably best to skip Himalayan pink salt altogether, or at least make sure you're buying it from a trusted brand. Then he goes into, but what about iodine in salt? The only thing you're missing when you use sea salt over regular table salt is iodine. Table salt is supplemented with iodine, while sea salt is not. And iodine is certainly crucial for your health, and iodized salt is one way to get it here. However, eating whole food sources of iodine is preferable. Great sources include fish, seaweed, eggs, and dairy. Plus, iodized salt is more processed and does not include the additional trace minerals that sea salt provides. So overall, the difference between Himalayan pink salt versus sea salt is that Himalayan pink salt comes with the additional risks of heavy metal exposure. Although it can be a good source of trace minerals like all sea salts, you're probably better off getting your electrolytes and trace minerals from regular sea salt. So there are two different opinions, and you have to do what's best for you. And okay, so here's the thing. Maybe you don't want to buy your Himalayan pink salt at the 99-cent store. Just saying, if you're going to get it from a good, reputable source, because once it becomes a fad, or like, ooh, the new thing is pink salt, right? Mm-hmm. Then we have the people who manufacture it, who are doing it for the profit, not necessarily for your health, right? And so it's pink, and it's pink salt, and it looks pretty in the package. It looks like it's the gourmet. But where did they harvest it from?
Well, I'm concerned about the mention of this rust. I'm like, rust? What?
That's the heavy metals.
What is? Yeah, where does the rust come from? I'm like,
Well, okay. That's because you know, in science, the rocks are lead and metals are in the rocks already, right? And so we're getting the salt from the rocks already.
Yeah, from the formations, yes.
Okay, so it stands to reason that, you know, we have metals in our body because we're made out of rocks and dirt stuff too. We're just not supposed to have too much of it in the body. That's the thing. Everything is going back to moderation. We should not have so much of anything. So my takeaway on the salt issue is, okay, the table salt is completely out because of the things that Robin said, the additives and stuff. And even though they put iodide in the salt, it's not okay. Get the iodide from food that you need. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then that's my takeaway. So now if I got to decide between the Himalayan pink salt. If I'm going to do the Himalayan pink salt, I'm going to go find a very good brand, a reputable brand, and find out where they harvest it. Do my research like I do for every other food we eat. Instead of going the cheap route. Oh, there it is, 99 cents. And they give you this big thing for 99 cents. Robin, are you... Robin... I think Robin pushed a button.
I did too. She'll be back.
Yes. So, and then on the sea salt, she was mentioning that the sea salt, you're going to have to pick your source for that too, because the sea salt, though, if the water is contaminated, if the sea is contaminated where you're getting the sea salt, that's going to be an issue. And that brought about Natalie's questions. What about the Dead Sea salt? Right? So
yeah, something. This also I noticed when I was looking at the different salts that there was a black salt, and I'm not familiar with that. And I'm over here looking it up. They've got some stuff over here on Amazon for sale, but I'm trying to figure out important stuff about the health benefits of black salt. Well, that's 12 minutes. We won't be looking at that.
Okay, and then here's the thing, too. There's everybody who's going to have something. Everybody on Amazon selling you something may not be selling you the right thing. So that's why we need to do your homework, especially where your body is concerned. You only get one body to function. You don't get a redo. You don't get 3 lives like in a video game. So you don't get to do it over again. So we got to do it right the first time around, which means to make sure that we're putting the proper nutrient in and taking a look at your salt and finding out what the best salt to use is. It's good homework. You could use no salt, but then your food probably will be like, I'm liking the kosher salt option right now.
Yeah, because kosher salt is the least processed salt out there.
Okay, so I'm liking kosher salt. Put that on my shopping list.
And maybe, Terry, for you, since you use a lot of Himalayan salt, maybe you can introduce either kosher or sea salt.
Absolutely.
High quality sea salt into your
I think I'm either going with Celtic or kosher. Something's going to change.
And you guys keep talking, but I'm going to tell you what I did with after I read that article by Dr. Colbert. Let me show you what I did with my Himalayan pink salt.
Okay. So here, I'm also looking at 5 benefits of including black salt in your diet. It says it aids to weight loss. Since black salt contains less sodium as compared to regular table salt, it doesn't cause water retention and bloating, prevents muscle spasms and cramps, treats acidity, it has laxative benefits, and it promotes healthy hair. Now, this is from a website called the healthbenefitsof.com. I don't know, because this was just something I Googled while we were talking. So I'm not going to say that's a reliable source, but I had seen it when I was shopping for the Himalayan salt, ladies, and I did see black salt, and I was just curious. So
I wonder where they mine it.
Yeah, that would be my thing. Where are you getting it, and why is it black?
It says India. Hold on.
Yes, I understand, but why is it black?
Where? Yeah.
Okay, and so here's what I did with my pink salt.
Oh, you made, what did you make it?
I made nice hey, it's pretty. I can stick plants in it, do something to it.
So you used it for ornamental reasons.
Right. I'm like, okay, I can't eat it, and I'm not going to certainly not throw out $10, or how much did I pay for that? $3 or $4? It wasn't 99. It was a little bit more than 99 cents, but I was like,
no, I said $7.99.
No, I think it was $3. That's why I'm like, oh wait, this may not be the good stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you guys remember, was it last week we had Lee on the show, and she was talking about pink salt and the benefits of the ions that emanate from the pink salt. So I think, Francine, what you're doing there is perfect in terms of getting the pink salt in your environment.
Oh.
Not ingesting it.
Just not eating it.
Interesting.
Yes. And Lakeisha had a question over here, a comment. She said there's plenty of salt in foods. We don't need to add any. Especially if you're going out to eat. If some places you go, the food is very bland, but if you go out to eat, dinner and breakfast and stuff, you really don't need to add salts. Like if I'm eating a sausage patty or something with my eggs, I don't add any more salt to the food because it's already the salt from what the meat that I just put in there. I was like, you know what? I don't need to add any more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's our job, is just to raise awareness.
Right. And
make people think about it a little bit.
And go do your homework. Everybody go. You have to find out what is going with you. Hey, Alfredo. So, what was next on the list? Because salt, that was a very good...
Well, it's 8:27, and I've got 25 best ever nutrition tips. So what I think I'll do is give you what I think are the top 2.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so there's a tea called Pura, Puerh, and it's saying it's a fermented Chinese tea with an earthy flavor, and it can actually shrink the size of your fat cells. So I'm going to go out and check it out a little bit. I think I'm going to Google it and learn a little bit more about this fermented Chinese tea that shrinks fat cells. So it says, to discover the brew's fat crusading powers, Chinese researchers divided rats into 5 groups and fed them various diets over a 2-month period. In addition to the control group, there was a group given high-fat diet with no tea supplementation, and 3 additional groups that were fed high-fat diet with varying doses of the Pura tea extract. Mm-hmm. And they found that the tea significantly lowered triglyceride concentrations, potential dangerous fat found in the blood, and belly fat in the high-fat diet groups. It's a natural fat blaster, along with barberry, rubius, and white tea. Anyway, isn't that interesting?
It is very interesting.
So, what's the name of that tea again, please?
Called capital P-U hyphen E-R-H. Pura. I don't know. I'm probably saying that all cuckoo.
That's okay. We're just so glad for the information.
So, okay.
My Google keeps correcting my spelling.
You didn't like it, huh?
So what's the next tip on your list?
All right. And the other tip is so super simple. Okay, so it says water down your calories. All right. Mm-hmm. So they're saying, if you've been told to drink 8 glasses of water a day, but why bother? Well, if what is staying hydrated could strip pounds off your body, according to a study, after drinking approximately 17 ounces of water, which is about 2 tall glasses of water, participants' metabolic rate increased by 30%. Researchers estimate that increasing water intake about 6 cups a day would burn an extra 17,400 calories, which is a weight loss of approximately 5 pounds.
Oh,
just by drinking some water.
I like that.
Yep. And the other thing, let's see. I guess those were the 2 that I thought were very interesting. The sleep one was also interesting. So they're talking about getting loads and loads and loads of sleep. You know, we've talked about sleep many times on this show. Now I can't find it. But
sleep. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So to recap, drinking 2 tall glasses of water helps to stave off, helps boost your metabolism.
Right, by 30%.
By 30%. That is genius right there. Well, I mean, the body works that way. So by drinking additional water, and my new motto is water over coffee, or water over everything else. Drinking more water than anything else that I drink. The other things are considered a treat or every once in a while. And water is going to be my main beverage.
Okay, you guys want to lose 18 pounds in a year?
Okay.
Whoa, I'm listening.
Okay, it says, dim the lights to get lighter. A study of fast food restaurant published in the Journal of Psychological Reports found that customers who dined in a relaxed environment with dimmed lights and mellow music ate 175 fewer calories per meal than if they were in the more typical restaurant environment.
Oh.
That doesn't sound like a dramatic savings. However, cutting 175 calories from dinner every night could save you more than 18 pounds a year.
So then I should continue to set my table, light a candle, and put on some music and relax. This is cool.
And it sounds like we're slowing down to enjoy our meal, which
to taste the food.
Yes, which in turn makes you won't eat as much because you've enjoyed the meal and you didn't wolf it down, and now you're still hungry.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that simple? I mean, if we just make it more of an event of something that we're going to enjoy and treasure, our meal, we could lose weight.
Yay!
I just thought that was so cool.
I do too. I think this is excellent. Robin, thank you. This
welcome.
is some really good information. And for all you guys who are watching live or just joining us, please watch the replay because we talked about the different salts and how they may affect your body, and we just want you to be aware of that, and then be aware of other things that can affect your wealth, because your health really does affect your wealth. The things that you do with your body, it's going to play out, and it's going to not affect just you, it's going to affect your family too. So we want you to be healthy, stay healthy, and we'll be here every Thursday to bring you some tips or some information, something that makes you go do some homework and figure out what you're going to do about your food, about resting, about all of it. We want you to be around for the long haul. You've got a gift to share, and we need you here to share it.
That's right. So this is the end of our show. I mean, I
was really intrigued today, and I like the fact that you kept it doable, Robin. I want to thank you for that, because all three of those are things that I can do, and probably that I need to do, because when I slow down, I'll relax, and I'll begin to wind down so I can sleep better. Wow.
Which also goes toward your weight loss. Resting goes toward your weight loss. Drinking water goes to weight loss. Your body is probably trying to get back to where it should be, and if we would help it by resting and hydrating well and eating well, it really is trying to be where it wants to be. It doesn't want to be overweight. It doesn't. It wants to be, and it really is trying to keep us healthy, trying to keep us in a particular place. That's why if you get a headache, it's telling you something. If you get an ache in your arm, it's telling you something. Ache in your leg, hey, something's wrong. That'll mean that you're supposed to go mask it with a pain reliever. You need to find out why the pain is there.
That's right. Okay.
Thank you again.
So we will be back next Thursday talking about health. Tomorrow we're talking tech. So if you got tech questions or you found a new tech toy that you think is a good fit for us, please introduce it. We want to talk about that. And Monday we will be talking with Terrell Mitchell. And also Monday is our first Mondays at Seasons 52. Please come and join us if you are in the Sacramento area. Come, show your face, tell us what you do. Then our book is coming out soon, and you can pre-register that. We will put the link in the group so that you can get a hold of that. Anything else I'm forgetting, Terry?
No, we do have some workshops coming up, and they're listed over on our website.
Right.
I would love to meet you all. So if you could come out for First Mondays, the time is from 5 to 7. If you would like a ticket, you can get a ticket over on Eventbrite. The event is free. We just ask that you come and join in, buy dinner or whatever, and just relax and hear from a great speaker. Gail Guest Brown is speaking, and we look forward to hearing from her. She has a new book out, Girl Get It Right. So we look forward to all of that, and we want to remind you, don't forget to go to the front of your own mind.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you real soon.
Bye-bye.